Hey, the people of Africa. This is Smart Mado Ajaja. For those who be watching live, please do Africa a favor. Share this message. Share it far and wide. If you're a Nigerian, you have friends from other parts of Africa. Share this message. It is very important. It is very crucial. The timing is right to set Africa free from the potential of a second colonization by Imperial Europe, the Arabs, and the Chinese. There is another rage, another race for the balkanization of Africa. The same old ideology on which the Berlin Conference ran in 1884 is still being deployed. Elements of religion and spirituality that will continue to repress the African mind. The Chinese are coming with the Confucius ideology, a new imperial European imperialist group are coming with even stronger chains to reinforce what they had on Africa and the stranglehold they had on Africa and the African people through their leadership that has refused to grow, mostly 60 years after independence. The Greek gift they called independence with economic chains. What we were handed was poverty and not independence. Even though Africa has a commanding majority of the Earth's resources, the best we have been is being consumers of the trash of the world, because we give up our natural resources, we give up our mineral resources only as raw materials to those who exploit us. They refine it and put them into various types of products, then bring them back to us to buy at higher costs. And we celebrate. We have not successfully transformed our continent because those who lead Africa, especially after the first line, the first patriots that fought for the independence of Africa, they have refused to industrialize Africa, to create access to opportunity to the growing population of Africa, now put at about 1.4 billion people. 1.4 billion powerless, hopeless, voiceless, and economically disenfranchised people of Africa. One thing that is lacking is leadership. After the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah, the mother of Patrice Lumumba, the exit of Julius Nyerere from power, the exit of Kenneth Kaunda, the assassination of Emperor Haile Selassie, the murder of Abdel Nasser of Egypt, Africa started going down. Now the puppets of the West took over the reins of power. Look at where we are today. It got worse with every generation. 3 generations gone. The African life has not improved. the quality of the African has not improved. Nobody cares about the African life. The African people, including those born in the diaspora, are cut down like dogs, and nobody cares. And you know why that is? It's because those at home don't care. The political class of Africa is corrupt, ignorant, and morally bankrupt. They prefer the little stipends that the invaders from Europe, now China, and the Arabians give to them. Imperial Europe tell us about human rights. The same people who infected our people with diseases to diminish our numbers. Those who injected syphilis to castrate the black males. Those who invented smallpox to kill their prey so that they can take over their lands. Their game has not changed. But the question is, when is the African? When is the African, especially the African at home? When will he wake up? When will he call his people together? When will the African countries trade seamlessly with one another? When will the African leadership develop a backbone for their own technology? When will Africa set up its own financial system? When will Africa set up its own Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media infrastructure that will be independent of the control of others? When will Africa develop its agriculture to ensure that our farmers do not have to go now buying seedlings, because the seedlings that they are using to replace the authentic African agricultural seeds are those that have expiry dates. And the reason is because they want to control what we eat. And once they have a grasp of what we eat, we are finished as a people. Is the African leadership thinking? Are they alive to what is happening globally? The same African people was hit by slavery. It is estimated that over 20 million Africans were transported with the help of our own people at the time, our own ancestors, taken to the Americas and all parts of Europe to provide cheap labor and be slaves. And to date, we are still suffering the consequences. 400 years of wanton rape of Africa, and nobody is talking about reparation. Other groups who have had something not as close to what the African people suffered over 400 years have been given reparation. What is the problem with this skin color? We are the original people, the very first that the Almighty made. How come we have become inferior? How come is it that we have accepted this inferiority toga? When are we going to rise up and say we have had enough? When are we going to develop? The same African people, victims of colonialism. Colonialism is nothing but slavery at home. The same concept drives colonialism under the transatlantic and the Trans-Saharan trades of slaves. This is the same people. They could not take all of us to the Americas and all other parts of Europe to dump us there in their plantations. They set up a plantation, huge plantation in Africa. And you know what? We are still in that plantation. When are we going to get out of it? They still manipulate us in that plantation. The same people who stole our artifacts and brought them to London, Paris, Lisbon, Washington for exhibition that some of us go to pay money to watch instead of asking that those artifacts be taken back to Africa where they were stolen. The British economy, for instance, majorly runs on artifacts stolen from Africa and the benefits of raw materials stolen from Africa to build London. The same people who tell us about human rights, they violated us wantonly. At what point are we going to tell them that now we want our independence? The same people created an apartheid system in South Africa, claiming that God gave them South Africa. And they moved in there in 1652. Disordered the people, enslaved them, disenfranchised them, stripped them of their Africanness. At what point are we going to start asking questions? The same people came together and told us about globalization. Globalization is nothing but a combination of slavery, colonialism, and apartheid rolled into one. We are all happy that we're able to use the internet. We're all happy the world has become a global village. But how is it impacting the African people? They have rendered us unproductive. Everything we feed on, everything we wear comes off of them. What is Africa given to the world beyond her raw materials that they come and take for free? And then in exchange, they give us guns. They give us ammunition. They sell us gunboats. They sell us fighter jets to continue to destroy ourselves. And what does that do? It builds their economy. It takes care of their people and build their countries. Off of the blood of the African people, they leave us in misery. They leave us fractured. At what point will Africa unite? Africa unite. The youths of Africa, this is a wake-up call to you. And the reason this message is so important is because of what is taking place around the world today. Where will the place of Africa be with all the games that is being played? At the end of the day, it is going to crystallize into one thing. Once again, the balkanization and the colonization of Africa, and for the occupation, this time, of the invaders and their next generations. The goal is to take over Africa. How come that the Chinese are all over Africa right now, building infrastructures